thank you all for being here, and let's dig in. One of my favorite chapters in the Quran, it's called the chapter of mercy. It's Surah Ar-Rahman. And the main sort of verse in it that repeats over and over again is, which of your Lord's favors will you deny? It's like a call to remember. And for me, the way that I translate that is into hospitality. So as you all can see, I tend to overdo the food. But also I feel like that's sort of a metaphor for just like opening homes.
There's an idea in the Jewish tradition of Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim chaim. In English, these and those are words of the living God. And when I encounter people to build relationships, to assume if I'm hearing something that is different than what I believe, to see that as an embodiment of humanity, an embodiment of divinity.
As a adoptee, as an Indian, as a Christian, what I bring to this is the work of translation between communities and mercy. That there is an element of needing to understand the stories of another, not as appropriators of them, but as learners.
As an agnostic, one of the things that I bring to interfaith work is commitment to recognizing I can know what I know and there is a lot I don't know. And so I have to trust and build with other folks who see things differently.
I think on our campus, we did like some Religion 101 events, but what I took away from the leadership experience was the people who supported me through it, the other fellows at other campuses. Many of them I'm still in touch with today. We're still doing the same thing. They're all bridge builders or people who want their communities to be more whole and more just. And I feel so deeply connected to them and on the same page as them.
The folks who engage with Interfaith America's work will always come out more loving and empathic than when they first entered.
In 2020, like when we were seeing these mass protests happen, and I'm on the phone call with an organization that's asking to find a safe haven for protesters to go to after curfew, and I'm thinking to myself, like, who can I call to figure out what we can open, because there isn't a mosque in Hyde Park that we can open, and you're one of the first calls that I make, right? You're the person that I call to say, what pastors do you know on the South Side?
And the space we found to keep those protesters safe wasn't even of my tradition, because I went and called in another favor down the chain, right?
That actually affects real lives, right? 10 years later, it actually does bring something into change that was really needed in that moment, that wouldn't exist if it wasn't for a relationship that was built on a small program on campus 12 years ago.
I wake up every day and I read the news and we hear about division, we hear about polarization, we hear about conflict here and around the world, and Interfaith America is telling a different story, and it inspires me to wake up in the morning and to try to think about building a world that's different.
At the start of my time, really, at IFYC, I came just before the sort of COVID surge of deaths hit. And as doctors and public health officials were trying to figure out how to get communities that were hardest hit to adopt the vaccine, their immediate thought was, we need to go to the faith leaders, but we don't know how to talk with them. But through the work of IFYC, we were able to quite literally work with churches to host vaccine clinics, to have difficult conversations around medical racism, to hold space for those who were vaccine hesitant. As I think about why interfaith work matters and why we're doing it, this is immediately clear to me, and in some instances, it can quite literally save lives.